My name is Sister Madeleine. I took my name after Saint Madeleine Sophie Barat, the patron saint of schoolgirls. I am a teacher. I was born in Cross Street, Athenry, on the 18th of January 1931. I am 89 years of age. I am one of 6 children. My brother Dermot and my sister Josie are still living. I live in St Mary's Nursing Home on Shantalla Road in Galway. I attended Athenry National School, and I went to secondary school around 1943 or 44. I studied English, Irish, history, geography, French, drawing, singing, and maths. I did the intercert twice because there was no leaving cert in Athenry. 6 or 7 only sat the inter. The best were picked, which was sad, but she had so many to teach. I was unsure as to what I wanted to do. I went as a boarder to Presentation College Tuam for secondary school in 1947. I did the leaving cert there. I loved doing honours maths. The uniform was a navy pinafore with box pleats. The teachers were Sister Mary Trays, who taught all subjects, Miss Glynn, who walked to school from Ballygoran and taught maths, and Miss Burke came and played the melodeon. There was a drill on a Friday for half an hour consisting of exercises and marching in unison. I entered the Presentation Nuns in 1949 in Tuam. I suppose I was 18, was I? I went to Dublin then to become a national school teacher, and I trained in Kerrysport College. I was sent to many convents throughout the years, including Tuam, Headford, Baltinglass, Tierney in Connemara, Shantalla in Galway, and Achill Island. Hello, sister. Nice to meet you, sister. You warm enough, sister? And while on one hand we don't appear to have anything in common, don't appear to be similar at all, on the other hand we find ourselves here together, just sitting here. 2 women. Sisters in a way. Sisters for the time being. Sister. I don't have a sister, but I have had many sisters. Can you know anyone at all? Can you know people in moments if you pay attention? In fact, is it only by sharing moments that we can truly know another person? We met twice. The first visit. You are a nun. That's all I knew before I met you. And an artist, a painter. I lived across the road from your nursing home for 9 years. If only I'd known I could have visited you before. It was hard to talk to you. Not because you were hard to talk to. My own granny had dementia and I drove her demented, telling her the mistakes she was making and the things she got wrong. Because I desperately wanted her to be back to the way she was. With you, I accepted you just the way you were. I didn't have the luxury of loss or missing. And so we sat. The first time outside. Susan put a colourful blanket around you in case you got cold. I kept many metres back from you because of the COVID, and I had to shout, and you kept telling me to move closer. And your face told me you were irritated that you couldn't hear me. Come closer, but I couldn't. And then you asked me who I was and why I was there. I said I was a writer for theatre. I'm writing a play about you. I decided there was no room to explain that I'm not a proper writer. I decided there was no space for the nuances of explaining that I usually do theatre, but this isn't really theatre, and because of COVID it will be filmed or something, or God, I don't know. I decided there was no time for false or even real modesties. Do you make stuff up? You asked me. No, I don't make stuff up. But I wouldn't say that's the same as telling the truth. And then you asked me who I was and why I was there, and my heart sank. I thought of my grandmother. I had outward patience with you. Such patience and kindness that I didn't recognize or expect in myself. I said I was a writer for theatre. I'm writing a play about you. I decided there was no room to explain that I'm not a proper writer. You learned how to paint on ACL by copying a visiting art teacher's paintings, Mr. Turner. You weren't allowed to attend the classes, so you listened at the door to pick up tips. And when he left, he would leave his paintings after him, and you taught yourself by copying them, and went on to make your own paintings then. I thought this was very practical. You painted scenes of ACL, and people would seek you out and buy your pictures. And it was a way for you to raise money to do up the house. You were a teacher on ACL, but part of your job was to run the house as a holiday home for nuns. Nuns on their holidays. That's something I never thought about before. Nuns on their holidays. What did they do on their holidays? You didn't remember. Did they relax and go to the beach? Go for walks? The beds in the house in ACL hadn't been replaced in 100 years, you thought, so you did up the whole house with the money you got from your paintings. You were proud of making money from your work. You valued independence. Did you know a lot of artists have a complicated relationship with money? You spent a long time on ACL, maybe even 10 years or more. Susan tells me you were very funny. I believe it. You never mentioned what it was like being a nun. I was fascinated by the nun part of your story, but the fact that you were a nun was just that, a fact. I am afraid of disrespecting you. I was so afraid of giving you COVID, a real fear. You said if you won the lotto, you wouldn't get to keep any of it, that they would take it all off you. They meaning the convent. You were so genuinely delighted when I gave you the sweets. Fruit pastilles and a little bar of Cadbury's fruit and nut. I have never seen anyone react in such a big way at something so small. You were thrilled. The first visit was 20 minutes and then you were wheeled away. The second visit. I was nervous. I made a list of questions. I didn't ask any of them. It started to rain. I couldn't go inside because of the COVID. I couldn't just walk in on top of all the other people, but if I didn't, you were going to get wet. I stood at the door and felt helpless. Susan saw me, saw it was raining and came out to get you. This was all in a matter of seconds. I met you a few minutes later in the visiting room. The two of us, either side of the perspex partition, with holes in it. You found it even harder to hear me. I took a photo of you and I said you had a nice smile. I don't know what I expected, but you never talked about God or Mass or priests. I don't know what I expected, but you never talked about boys or love. As I sat there with you, I felt like such a fake, a phony person. You were here, living in the moment, and only in the moment, living nowhere else. People pay a lot of money nowadays to learn how to live in the moment. You told me about the past, but the past didn't even really matter. You were content just sitting there. And while on one hand we don't appear to have anything in common, don't appear to be similar at all, on the other hand we find ourselves here together, sisters, in a way, for the time being.
In alling day go doctor shin Kristan wer Kristan tiask Elion today go gaster shin O was go hish is always go bon.
Here are some words from people who know you better than me. She was a great painter and painted and sold many paintings, mostly scenery. She gave away money to a lot of people that were poorer than her. When she retired from teaching, she went to Slovakia for a year to keep company with a nun out there, as the presentation sisters didn't want her to be on her own, so Sister Madeleine went and travelled all round there. She didn't know the language, only one sentence that said, "I don't speak Slovakian," which seemed to work for her. She loved the people out there. She travelled to many other countries in Europe. She was very comfortable travelling on her own. Sister Madeleine has mild dementia, but is well able to converse. Sister Madeleine used her gifts as an artist and visited people in the community. We love listening to her. She is absolutely hilarious. She was always in good form and always tried to see the best in people. She went for a standard hip replacement, which was successful, but unfortunately she had a stroke the following night, which left her with short-term memory loss, where she keeps asking you the same questions numerous times during your visit. She is one fine lady. She loves to know all about other people's stories. She's 89 and very excited about reaching 90 next year. She would love to reach 100 to receive her cheque. She's a beautiful singer. Her party piece is Fair Achill Island. Sister Madeleine is really a wonderful woman. She's always in good form, even after the stroke. And when you ask her, is she happy? The answer is always, wouldn't you be a fool not to? Wouldn't you be a fool not to?